Good afternoon. I'm Dr. David Livingston, president of Lewis University. Welcome to Conversations from Stritch. This is our sixth season. It's our second week of the fall semester, and we have had a great start to the academic year. Classes are underway, and we have more than 7,000 students on multiple campuses across the Chicagoland area and down in Albuquerque, and we're really excited to have people. Welcome week at Romeoville was incredibly rich in terms of 450 transfer students, as well as more than 600 new first-year students coming into campus. It was a great year, as you can see in some of these photos and videos. The class of 2029 is huge, and we're excited to have them. You can see on the video here that when the first-year students were welcomed in, we were able to have them all walk through the encounter. It was a great experience. Fitz was there to welcome them in, and Chris and I were also both there with the brothers to welcome them, along with many of our faculty. We did conclude our, and this is a great, this is the picture taken, and our taking of the picture, I'm out there with Fitz, but it took a little while to get everybody in their right spot. But you'll see at the end of this from our drone that it was just a great, great picture of the new students that are here with us, all in their flyer red. So we're looking forward to the upcoming year. We did conclude our celebration of Black August last week with a series of incredible events. Black August is a month to commemorate and honor the lives and the resistance of Black political prisoners and their struggle in terms of working within the carceral system. It started in California in the 1970s, and it brings people together here at Lewis to educate people about a range of issues, including prison education, how the system works, and we had students from Stateville that were able to talk about what's going on there, as well as students in our prison education system. So last Thursday was St. Augustine Day. We celebrated that every year with the Feast of St. Augustine, and there was a mass, a picnic, and we also celebrated the legacy of Dr. Carlos Plazas. Chris was able to be there. I was unfortunately out of the country, but we really had a great event, and you can see in some of these. And there's our new dean, Angela, who's doing a great job. I was just with her yesterday at the WGN studios. We're going to be on the Adelante show this Saturday. There's Dr. Plazas at the memorial celebration for him that is on St. Augustine Campus Chapel. So really grateful to all the work that went into that. I did want to just do a little shout out to Coach Scott Trost, and he's going to be retiring as our head men's basketball coach, and Nick Rocco has been announced as his replacement for the upcoming season. We're really excited about that. So congratulations to Scott and congratulations to Nick. And of course, we're excited. We also have a new women's basketball coach. So a lot of new exciting energy around men's and women's basketball. That season doesn't start for a while. We'll talk more about upcoming sports. So we also have some acknowledgments of some work that's been done by our faculty and staff.
Yeah, it's great to be here with you, everyone. And it was great. I loved watching that video. I hadn't seen that video of the LU and of all the other activities that happened during Welcome Week, Convocation, walking through the Encounter Monument, and all the other fun stuff that happened for students that week. It was a great week, and fun. It feels like it was a long time ago. I feel like I was watching an historical video there of last week, but great job everyone who put together that video. Also, the St. Augustine Day was really great, full day of events, but I was especially there for the memorial was really, we have had the opportunity of meeting Dr. Plazas in the last few years several times, being with him and his family, and we were able to give him the honorary doctorate last year at our commencement ceremony. So we're really happy that we were able to do that, but also the memorial itself was really moving. Many people from the St. Augustine community, going all the way back to the beginning, were there with really loving testimonials to his work and accomplishments. And I know we always talk about this in different ways with research and so on, but it's just another reminder that college really exists because of his vision and his wife's vision and so many other people who were there at the beginning. And that was just a really vivid reminder of how visionary he was. So some news last week during Community Hour, we had our annual student engagement fair where students were able to sign up for clubs and organizations and learn more about the vibrant student life on campus. If you weren't able to attend, you can still join in on the fun. Go to the student involvement area of the Lewis website or watch in your email or social media for more information. This week's Community Hour was built around September being Suicide Prevention Month. The events of the day included DIY projects, games, and snacks to spread hope and raise awareness for a leading cause of death in America. Some accomplishments that we picked up over the summer. 4 students from the math department represented Lewis at the National Mathematics Math Fest conference in August. Both posters presented were awarded the MAA Outstanding Student Poster Award. Zach Littell presented his work with Dr. Brittany Stevenson on mathematically modeling disease transmission between hospitals and long-term care facilities. The second poster, Analysis of Home Team Advantage for National Collegiate Men's Volleyball, was presented by Tony Kochev, Luke Peckel, and Zach Peckel. Their faculty mentors are Dr. Amanda Harsey and Dr. Adam Schultz. So congratulations to everyone who participated in that conference. The Journal of Innovation in Health Sciences Education editorial board appointed Dr. R.V. Vitente, professor and program director of Lewis University's Doctorate of Physical Therapy program, as associate editor. Congratulations to Dr. Vitente for that distinguished position. Dr. Mike McFerrin's original electroacoustic composition called Motion in Flow was recently selected for an October performance at Queen's Tape Music Festival in Astoria. The work originally premiered at the 23rd Annual Electronic Music Midwest Festival, co-sponsored by Lewis, and featured on the 2025 album Motion Electronique. So congratulations to Mike McFerrin. Congratulations to Professor Jamil Mustafa, Professor of English Studies, who has been published in a book called Ghosts and the Gothic, published by Manchester University Press. This year, his chapter focuses on late Victorian ghost stories set in India during British rule. Ghosts and the Gothic is the latest book in the International Gothic series, which offers interpretations of the Gothic mode over time and across the world. So those are just some of the things. We'll probably bring in some more news that happened over the summer. So much happened over the summer with faculty and student accomplishments, including the SURE program and many other great things. So we'll layer some more things in as the year goes on or the fall goes on.
For sure.
We'll talk about some events this week now.
Yeah, so the school year is definitely gearing up, as we said earlier. It's been an amazing start to the year. Last week was very busy. A few things going on this week. We have today we have on the University Green, Alpha Psi Lambda is having their treasure hunt. BSU is having their game night, and over in the Student Center walkway, there's a food truck night tonight that starts at 4. The Latinx Testimonios and Practicas project information session will be at 4 o'clock. That's a virtual event that you can log on to. And then the Delta Sigma Pi trivia night over at Embers over in Lockport is happening tonight. Tomorrow, the Carne Asada with Alpha Psi Lambda is happening. And in the Keith White Theater, Alpha Kappa Alpha is having their orientation. Tomorrow night as well, Lewis men's and women's cross country will be have a race tomorrow night here on campus. And at St. Charles Borromeo tomorrow night, the Delta Sigma Pi will have their dunk tank. Sunday, women's soccer will be traveling to Wisconsin Parkside. Men's soccer will also be at Wisconsin Parkside. And of course, every Sunday night at 7 o'clock in the chapel, we have Mass. Monday night next week, there is a virtual Coursera professional certificate informational session. So if you want to understand a little bit more about how you might be able to use Coursera as a faculty staff member to kind of enhance your skills, you can go to that. Next week, at the Student Center 5:30, we'll have speed puzzling in AS 158. That's our new movie theater, the movie Inception, which I saw, but it's been a while, so I was looking that up and reminding myself, and when I saw the little trailer, it's a good movie. Alpha Eta Rho will have an informational session, and Best Buddies Back to School Social will also be on Monday. Tuesday, there's Mass, group exercise, country line dancing if you want to learn line dancing, another speed puzzling, and another showing of Inception. Alpha Eta Rho has an informational session, and Best Buddies will also be there. And of course, lots going on next week in terms of stuff related to the community hour. So we'll have First Gen Flyers, the Photo Club, we'll have Mass, and RSO has a lunch, Meet the Greeks social, HSI Week keynote, and then we also have some traveling. Again, soccer will be at Purdue Northwest, and women's soccer will be at Roosevelt. Men's or women's volleyball will be traveling to the Bulldog Classic Friday and Saturday in North Carolina, and women's golf will be at UIndy at the Invitational at the Broadmoor Country Club in Indianapolis, both Tuesday and Wednesday. So this week we're kind of switching things around. I'll hand it over to Chris, who's going to introduce our guest today.
I was just thinking that we have, I think it's been maybe 5 or 6 seasons of this since we have not had a guest to talk to at this time. So really, you're the guest today.
I know, I find that bizarre, but bring it on.
After a decade, Dr. Livingston will be retiring as Lewis University president at the end of this year, the 2025-26 academic year, which concludes a 10-year tenure as Lewis president. We're going to have a lot of time to talk about this and celebrate, and opportunities in the spring to reflect more deeply about all of Dr. Livingston's accomplishments and legacy. But for today, I thought we could just talk a little bit about what went into the decision. Mm-hmm. So, could you tell us a little bit about what some of the things you considered were?
Yeah. So my main, as you know, because you have a very similar job. It's very draining, not only on me, but on my family, especially on Joan, because, like I said, you probably know it better than anybody. We work, it can be 7 days a week, and mm-hmm. that's not different than lots of people on this campus, but lots of evenings, lots of weekends. So that all plays into it in terms of having done the presidency for 13 years and actually 7 years before that in VP for Advancement. So that involved a lot of traveling, again, a lot of nights and weekends. So it's been 20 years where
Could you clarify that a little bit? Because some people might not know you were president at another university before.
Yes, sorry. Yeah. So I did 7 years as a VP for Advancement at Mercyhurst University, and then I did 3 years as president of Lourdes University, which is just outside of Toledo, before I came here. And this is my 10th year as president here. So, a lot of it is, and the other thing that went into this, interesting, and then we can get into this, Chris, but, really, I never expected that I would be a university president. You and I, you know this story, but never thought it. And that there's a part of me that still identifies myself in many ways as a faculty member. Mm-hmm. And so that also plays into it, because I also feel like there are other things that I can do in the world, mm-hmm. right? I don't know what I'm doing next year. and we can talk more about like some of my ideas, but in terms of just the decision, it feels like the right time. The other big part of the decision is I really feel like Lewis is positioned incredibly well. So as as everybody on here probably knows, we have completed the merger. There's some, little paperwork that needs to be done. We've just completed the capital campaign. We've exceeded our goal, raised a little over $52 million. We have filed our paperwork for the Indivisa system. And we have an amazing leadership team, and I put that in leadership and expanded leadership, just an amazing group of people. All those things make me feel comfortable. Our endowment has been doubled. There's all these things that we've done. And so though there's always things that we're in the middle of, and there are many right now, what I feel really deeply gratified by is that I feel the university is positioned really well for the next leader, and that makes me feel comfortable moving on and doing some other things in my own life. But I'm leaving Lewis and the community, I think, in an incredibly strong position, and that makes me feel really good about the decision.
Yeah, and the next question I was going to ask you kind of already started to answer but people may not know this. I just looked this up today. The average tenure for a president is 5.9 years. So why is it so I think some people think that's a short amount of time. And you kind of talked about the physical challenges of it, but like what are some of the reasons why presidents don't have very long tenures at institutions?
So I think there's two sides of this coin. There's choices made by the president, him or herself, that goes into this emotional and physical drain and familial drain that the job has on the individual that's in the role. And I think that leads some people to leave after 3 or 4 or 5 years. It's very stressful. And then there's I think how challenging the job is. So then because I've had many friends who have had a 3-year contract or a 5-year contract and they don't get renewed. So that number is, there's some people that do 9-10 years like me, but there's a lot of people who are, for lack of a better word, not as successful as the board needs them to be or the institution needs them to be. And so they just aren't renewed. And then the other thing is, if you are really successful after 5 years, there are other opportunities. So I left after 3 years at Lourdes to come here. Now that was partly a decision about geography and family and all of those things, but it was also an opportunity because Lewis is a much better institution. Not the people or the students we serve, but it's a much better institution on what I guess I would call the traditional metrics of an institution than Lourdes was. And so for me, that was an opportunity to go to a more complex organization, an organization that was more financially solid, that had larger enrollment. And that allowed me to do some of what we might talk about. Things that we have accomplished here, I could have never accomplished at Lourdes. Lourdes is in a somewhat similar position to what it was when I left 10 years ago. Here, we've made so much progress, partly because the foundation was so strong. And I believe that now the next person, this is we just talked about cross country, but in track, every president hands on the baton at some point. Nobody lasts forever. And so ideally you hand on that baton at a time when, quote unquote, the race is going well. And I think I feel really confident. I feel confident of your leadership. I feel confident of the leadership of the whole team. And I feel therefore that I can hand this off and it's going to be, the race is going to continue. We don't have to slow down. And that's feels good.
Great.
But other people, they hand it off very quickly because either they can't make it work, the institution isn't positioned well, or they realize that the job is so big that it's not for them.
Right. Yeah, those are good reasons. I forgot to mention earlier that the askus@lewisu.edu email address is there at the bottom of the screen. Please use that to ask Dr. Livingston a question. We'll get it into the conversation. We had a couple questions come through before we went on air today, but we'd love to hear more questions from the community. This is a great opportunity because he's going to answer the questions that you asked. But I have a couple more. the most fun thing about the job?
Yeah, the most enjoyable thing, and to be honest, I wish I actually had more of this time, but I enjoy most when I can interact with students, when I can sit down with students and understand. Sometimes that is in large groups when I'm, with a team or with an organization or with the student senate. But I also have individual conversations with people, and hearing their stories is so exciting. I guess I'd say the second most enjoyable is the time I spent with alumni, and I probably spend as much or more time with alumni, to be honest, as I do with our current students one-on-one, because I am raising money, and so I go out to dinner with our alumni. I go to events with alumni, and I love that, because that is maybe the other end of the spectrum, which is Lewis so shaped me that the reason that I'm successful, the reason I'm the person I am, is because Lewis was so impactful on me. And I get to sit down for a 2-hour dinner and hear them rave about Lewis.
Yeah.
And then you can bring that back here, and you're like, do you know the power of this mission and how it impacts people's lives? And I think I get a front row seat, and most people don't.
Yeah.
Most people they're grinding out, they're doing their job, they're teaching, they're coaching, they're processing financial aid. I get to see all the benefits of that because I hear it one-on-one from some of our most successful alumni around the globe.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just in Africa, and I had a really great, set of days. There's Brother Moses. So on the right side of this picture is Brother Moses.
What city were you in?
I went to Nairobi, Kenya, and Brother Moses is he's the auxiliary visitor, so he's the number 2 visitor for the Luangwa district, which handles all of English-speaking Africa, so basically East Africa and over into Nigeria, which is really on the kind of southern western side. But Brother Moses is an incredibly proud alum of Lewis University. He got his doctoral degree in education here. And, that's just another opportunity for me to hear the story of Lewis changed my life, and it gave me these opportunities. So I get to do that around the globe. Here's a great picture of, these are the 6 presidents of the 6 universities in Africa, 4 on the West Coast, French-speaking Africa, 2 on the East Coast that are in our region, Ethiopia, and so Addis Ababa in Ethiopia and Nairobi, Kenya. And then the president of our kind of organization, Brother Andres, is there on the right, as well as the 2 leaders, one from Brazil and one from Mexico, Carlos and Diana. We had a great meeting. Brother Moses was there in his role as auxiliary visitor. But this is just one more example of one of the things that I love. The last thing I'll say about what I love about the job, and this is third,
you can say more things.
Is doing strategy. What I like is thinking about what we as a university can become 3 or 5 years from now. And you and I spend a lot of time on that. I think you and the whole leadership team, but you and Ray especially, we spend a lot of time thinking about what's possible. And I think that envisioning is really enjoyable about the job, because
that's very
it's something that when you can see, and we have many of these examples. When I started, there were some dreams that we had, 9 years ago, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, and they are a reality now. Let's reinstitute a prison education program. Let's become well known for graduate education in health sciences. Let's become, a place that international students want to attend. And we can go on and on and on.
Yeah.
But all those were kind of dreams 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And now they're realities, and that is very satisfying to me.
Yeah, that kind of connects to what I was saying about Dr. Plasas. And
Yes, exactly.
having a vision and then having it become real.
Yes.
I noticed you didn't mention Conversations from Stritch, but
I do.
none of us here are offended.
I do. It is one of my favorite parts of the week, to be honest. I enjoy it. And you know what? This is another thing. There's probably I should do my top 10 before we end the year. Working with colleagues in their areas of expertise and kind of seeing them shine is another thing I love. And that's this, right? So right now, students and faculty and staff are making this show possible. Not to break the third wall, but they're
Yeah,
making this show possible.
Yeah.
And when I get to do that, when I get to be around these incredible professionals that make our program, in media, from TV to podcast, all possible. But then I go over and I'm with coaches and I watch them do their thing, or I'm, being able to show off something in aviation or something in one of our labs. Or this morning I was over in occupational therapy because my niece's daughter is here and she has some real challenges, but she was here with one of the classes so they could see the dynamics of somebody who's struggling with a genetic disorder. When you can see our professional colleagues at their, doing their thing that they love to do and they're so good at, I love being a part of that. I mean, that's why I love universities.
It's an incredible privilege too that we have.
We
that
We
most
get to
people
see
don't
them
have.
all.
It's almost like the interviews that we do here, where we actually have similar conversations half of every day in meetings, or just needing to go to an event, or where you get to learn about some really specific, amazing thing that's happening here.
Yeah, it is an incredible privilege to be surrounded by, and really every university, but Lewis is one of these. We have some of the best people in their fields, period. And we get to interact with them every single day. And we get to brag about them every single day. And that is an incredible, it's an incredible privilege. Because people tell me about how great Lewis is, but I don't know that everybody here gets to hear all those compliments every day.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
Okay, we got a couple questions coming in, so I got to try to stay on top of it. The one is about Brother James. So maybe about what you've learned from him, about this part of the cycle, and how he has, if you've talked to him, and how he's been part of.
Yeah, I see Brother James often. I always take him out for his birthday, but last week I did talk to him before this announcement was made. He has just been an incredible person, and I did learn a lot from him. I mean, this is one of those things. He was so, he's an incredible leader, 3 decades of work for this institution in the presidency, which is incredible. Having done 10 or almost 10, the thought of doing 30 is just, I literally don't know how he did it. And I said that to him last week, but one of the great things he did was when I came in, we talked every week in the 2 months leading up to it, and right after I got announced every month for those first 3 months. But then when I came in, he went and lived in Hyde Park, even though this is his community, this is his bedroom, this is his normal home, and he'd lived here for 30 years. It's just so gracious to leave, which was a hassle for him, go down to the south side of Chicago and live there for a year to give me the ability to take up my space. And it was difficult to follow after him, to be very honest, because he was an amazing leader. I hope that I've done just a little bit compared to what he did over his 30 years. And I hope I've been a good leader and a positive influence. But Brother James was amazing in that ability to say, I know what leadership takes. And so you need to kind of own the space. And if everybody's coming over to ask me, what do they think about what Dave's doing, that's not healthy. So I'm going to leave and let you do your thing. And now he's back, and now he's just a mentor for me, right? He's a wisdom figure, and I can talk to him about when I'm really struggling with something, help me. This is tough. Any thoughts, any ideas? What would you do? That's really valuable. The joke I always say, you've heard me say this before, but the audience probably hasn't. When I say stupid things, which I often do, I feel like Brother James clears his throat because his his bedroom is 100 yards from my office. So we are, but he's just been amazing. He's just been a great support. So.
What about retirement? I know he has a very different lifestyle than you do, but any.
Well, he has. What he said to me. You'll have opportunities to continue to be a part of the mission.
Yeah. That's cool.
He's on multiple boards.
Right.
He serves the mission in other ways that aren't being a president. and he gets a lot of gratification from that experience. And so he was saying, this doesn't have to be the end of your connection to the LaSallian world.
Right.
And that's really helpful. And he's been able to have a little bit more balanced life, which he also said, will be. He said, I think you'll enjoy that.
Yeah,
which I think I will. I hope I will.
Okay, I have a couple, maybe a two-part question. I'm combining one I was going to ask with one that someone wrote in. What are some things that were harder to accomplish than you thought they were going to be, or more frustrating that they didn't get accomplished? Now that there's an end to the time you have.
Yeah, I would say that the challenges that I guess remain out there that I wish we could have accomplished. I mean, there are issues in terms of the physical plant. We talk about this in terms of our prosperity gap. So we've made great strides in terms of the physical plant. I'm very proud of it. It's beautiful. But there are things that we know we lack in several areas. We also know that we have a vision for what we can accomplish in terms of the professionals and their sense of being, treated in terms of their kind of total compensation appropriately. So we set up a way of doing that, and we have made progress, and we still aren't everywhere we want to be. Same thing with, I feel like the endowment has grown, but it's not enough to, make this significant difference in terms of either affordability for our students or our ability to use it to fund positions, centers. I would say one of the things that I also wish, and I'll name two more things that have been more difficult than I thought. One was, we set to say it would be great if 50% of our traditional full-time undergraduate students lived on campus, 50% of them were commuters.
Yes.
That has been really hard to, I thought, we can do this. We have some ideas. We'll add this, incentivize it this way. And I'll tell you, it's been almost intractable. We are, 10 years later, we're still at about 33%. And that's not a bad thing. It's just we felt like if we were able to do that, it would be different. The other thing is to be a more, not just in specific programs, but to be more of a regional and national brand, that people would know Lewis and want to come to Lewis because we have these amazing programs. I still think we're primarily Chicagoland plus 2 or 3 hours in terms of our deep impact, where people say, oh, I know Lewis, such a great program in this or that.
Yeah.
We have not been able to move to the point where, people in Pennsylvania and people in, Cincinnati and people in, Colorado would say, oh yeah, I should go visit Lewis because it's one of those 5 Catholic excellent schools in the Midwest that I should visit. Not that we don't have any of that, but I mean, it's not.
Yeah, it's usually for a specific reason, a student athlete or a.
So that's been more intractable as well. And we've made strides in these things. Well, housing, I think we've not made, it's not moved the needle a lot, but we made strides in most of these areas that have been hard. But boy, it is hard to do some of these things. And, we've worked hard at it. So.
Yeah. And then what do you think you will accomplish this year? Or what are some things you feel like you can do that you want to
so my biggest goal this year, I mean, obviously we want to continue what I would say the progress towards goals that will be multi-year. But we also, as we've talked about with the community, we had lower than we wanted, or lower than even the students that wanted to come here internationally because of some things that are out of our control. We've had some lower student numbers in terms of the total St. Augustine population because of, again, things that were out of our control. And so that our total budget is not where we expected or wanted it to be this year. One of my goals is to make sure that we align our budget with our revenue so that when the new person takes over, they inherit a place that has a balanced budget. I'm not talking about having multi-million dollar surpluses, but having a balanced budget so that person can come in and as I've said in multiple settings already, and I will say in many settings, we are in a really strong financial, from a foundational point of view, we're totally fine. We just have some tweaking around the edges that I want to do this year to make sure that when the person takes over, they're not trying to deal with that. Because budgets, you didn't ask me what I least liked about the job, but I'll say it out loud. The least enjoyable part of the job is having to deal with the budget issues and the constraints that come with that. And so I would like to hand it off to the next leader in a way in which the budget is balanced and they can have the same kind of dreams that I had when I walked in and be able to accomplish them.
Yeah, that's great. Let me go back a little bit to what you first started talking about that people may not know about. So what was your field of expertise when you were a professor?
Yeah, so religion and ethics is what I taught. My kind of specific, what I kind of wrote on was around applying kind of 19th and 20th century philosophical thought to questions of basically humanity. We call it theological anthropology, but I try to describe it to people as human beings in the face of mystery. With all of our flaws and aspirations, how do we deal with that? And so that's what I love, is trying to think through kind of what is human nature and how do we address some of the big questions in relationship to what it means to be human. I find, for instance, things like generative AI and kind of ongoing global conflict and kind of this intractable issue of why can't we get this right in terms of food security, for instance, when we have so much. It's a political, economic thing. I find that kind of stuff fascinating. So that's my area of expertise. I've thought about teaching and because I don't know what I'm going to do next year, but teaching is one of those things, doing some writing.
Yeah.
I think I would enjoy as much teaching an intro to religion class or a ethics class as I would teaching a higher ed administration class. So I might try to teach on the graduate level, even though it's not my area of expertise.
Yeah, but
I think it would be really enjoyable to be what we would call here a professor of practice.
Yeah, I was just going to say
who
that.
could come in to a graduate program and teach a course this semester in which I share what I've learned over the last 20 years.
Yeah, that sounds great. And maybe some, I wouldn't, after being a president for 13 years plus other administrative jobs, it's hard to get back into scholarship in that deep way.
Totally.
But maybe some volunteer, maybe your choice of volunteer stuff is connected to that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, I think it will be. Yeah.
But yeah, I hope the leadership faculty were listening to that volunteer guest lecturer. And then I have a question from the email that I'm trying to pull up. I think, it just says, will Dave join the Luce program in 2027? Which is a really reasonable question. It makes sense.
It is.
And
I've done that before.
You might need to explain that.
So Luce is our program in Rome, which I love and I've been very supportive of. I did do a lot of study abroad work, taking students to Europe when I was a faculty member at Mercyhurst. I guess I would just say to the person asking the question, which I keep saying to everybody, I don't know what I'm going to do next year. I don't know what I'm going to do the year after that. And I'm trying to be gentle with myself about that. Like, say, there's some things that I probably need to reach out on. Like if I wanted to be a faculty member somewhere, I actually have to send my CV to some dean at some university to say, would you be interested in having a conversation about this? And then there's other things that I guess I hope will come to me. And then I'm going to have to discern between those opportunities. I would love to just do some gardening and some woodworking, but I don't think I'm just going to do that for the next 20 years.
Right.
I think I want to contribute to society.
And I know you talked about how a lot of travel is part of this decision.
Yes.
But I imagine you're still going to travel.
I will travel and hopefully travel more on my own, like doing it in a way that is appropriate to taking care of my relationships that I really care about.
Yeah.
A lot of this is, I've spent my life reflecting on, again, what it means. How do you live life well? That's kind of what religions try to figure out. How do you live life well?
Right.
And I think being too caught up in your profession can diminish your ability to live life well.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is balance out. It doesn't mean I don't love this job. It doesn't mean I don't think I can be good at it. What I guess I'm saying about this is being a president is not the only thing that I want to be known for or want to do with my life. I still have a lot of energy. How can I contribute? Maybe Luce is a part of that. I don't know. But I think I can contribute to the world, and I'm hoping that the world will accept that, offer that.
I'm sure you'll get lots of
vocational awareness. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that'll be really interesting to watch, because you'll get lots of offers, but you to the point where you might get tempted into them, even though you have to remember what you just said.
Right, exactly.
So, more important question that came through: has your time back in Illinois for 10 years helped you move from the Packers to the Bears?
Unfortunately, it has not. I'm looking forward to the start of the season against the Lions on Sunday, and I almost didn't get this job because I was a Packers fan, and people have put up with my cheesehead mania for the last 9 years plus, and hopefully it'll be another good season. I went to the Cubs game last night, which was enjoyable. So just so everybody that's Chicago fans,
some consolation.
I'm a Cubs fan, I'm a Hawks fan, I'm a Bulls fan, but I am a Packers fan.
Okay, and that hasn't changed.
No, hasn't changed.
Just a couple before we go. Just a couple questions that are kind of process oriented that came through, and I think I'll answer the first one. I think we're going to get an announcement Friday or maybe Monday from the chair of the Board of Trustees about the process for selecting a new president.
Yes, that's what I understand. So I think it'll be tomorrow, but it could be Monday. And I think that will lay out what I would say, probably not the whole process, but the initial giving the community enough that they know what these kind of markers are that they can look forward to and where they'll hear that, like where they can find the information. So we'll know a lot more in the next few days.
And I probably should have just asked this earlier, but maybe you could explain a little bit about why you announced it in September.
Yeah. So many people have asked me that. I was at a board meeting this morning. People in the community are like, so are you done in a month? And I'm like, no. In an ideal world, the way this works in higher ed, we're just the way we do it in higher ed is ideally you give about a year. So this was, when I had these conversations, about 11 months, so that there's time to do a full search. So the search takes, 6 or 7 months, and then whoever's taking over, this is really why it happens. You can't give 2 weeks if you're a sitting provost or a sitting president at another institution and say, oh yeah, I got offered this job, I'm leaving in 2 weeks. So in an ideal world, if you watch higher ed, most announcements for presidents will happen in December, January, and February. Not all of them, but most of them. And then they give notice, they get announced, and therefore they're giving notice to their place, and then they move to the next place. And I often describe it as musical chairs. Like July 1st is musical chairs in higher ed. So all these different people move around because these presidential contracts run through July 1st. If all's going well, they leave on July 1st and somebody takes their place. And then somebody's got to take the other person's place, and it's just a matter of musical chairs. So though I wanted to give the institution enough time to find a really good next leader.
That's great. Well, thank you very much for answering everyone's questions. And
Thanks.
being so generous about that. Remember, everyone, if you're watching on YouTube, you can still use the Ask Us at lewisu.edu email address and send in a question. I'm sure Dr. Livingston will be happy to respond to that email.
Absolutely.
All right, back to you to
All right.
close this
So
out.
thank you. Thanks for allowing me to be a guest today on our show. It really has been, it's been an amazing 9 years. I think this last year will be wonderful. I'm really looking forward to it. As always, I wish you a wonderful week and many blessings to you and all those that you love.